Okay, I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Cumberland School Committee at 7:25 PM on Thursday, October 14th, 2021. This meeting will be held in person. Per the Governor's Executive Order 21-97, masks must be worn. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. The next item on the agenda is approval of agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. DeMonica. Second by Mrs. Feather. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it 5-0. For the record, Mr. Fiorello and Mrs. Rogalski are not able to attend tonight, and we would like to welcome back Mr. DeMonica. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and we have one omission in here. So we will, what we will be approving is item A, approval of minutes 1 from regular meeting 9/23/2021. Item B, approval of minutes, executive session 9/23/2021, executive session 9/30/2021, the enrollment report from 10/1/2021, the school police report from 10/1/2021, the school bus inspection reports from 10/1/2021, and the residency truancy report 10/8/2021. We are not including item A2 because we do not have that tonight. So I need
Madam
it.
Chair?
Yes, Mrs. Feather.
A2 and B2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. We are omitting A2, special meeting 9/30/2021, and B2, executive session 9/30/2021. Other than that, we are approving the rest of this consent agenda. So I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Feather,
Second?
second by Mr. Collins. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it 5-0. Next on the agenda is personnel announcements. Mrs. Duncanson.
Can you hear me? Oh, jeez. Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few appointments tonight. First appointment, Marianne Lally, MLL McCourt, 1 year. Victoria Lamoureux, Math Essentials McCourt, 1 year. Danielle Lepatcher, Math Essentials McCourt, 1 year. Tricia Marchetti, Academic Coach, BF Norton. Diana Mendez, Paraprofessional RBT at Garvin. Emily Reed, Paraprofessional at BF Norton. And a coaching appointment is Bradney Smith. It's football coach. It is a new coach for the district. I have 4 resignations tonight. Kristen Marquise, Paraprofessional RBT at Garvin Preschool. Aaron Oliver, Assistant Principal at McCourt. Christian Whitaker, Social Studies at North Cumberland Middle School. Eric Blanchard, Athletic Director. And finally, a retirement effective June 30th, 2021 is Mary Ann Gregory, Cumberland High School English. I wish her well in her retirement.
Thank you. Mr. DeMonica.
Mrs. Duncanson, I see a couple of appointments are at step 10. Are they coming from other districts?
Excuse me?
I see a couple of the new appointments are at step 10.
Yes.
Are they because they have previous experience in other districts?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And Mrs. Duncanson, I know it's on there, but what is the date of Mr. Blanchard's resignation?
November 4th?
Okay.
Yeah,
November 12th.
11/12.
12, yeah.
11/12.
Okay.
I have a question about that. Have
That
we
is
already-
already posted, and so is the assistant principal at McCourt. All right?
All right. Thank you, Mrs.
Thank
Duncanson.
you.
Next on the agenda is report out of executive session meeting. Report out of executive session meeting on 10/14/2021. Report out of executive session votes. We did not take any votes. in our meeting. And the next item is vote to seal the minutes of the executive session. I need a motion to seal the minutes. Motion by Ms. Smith. Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, 5-0. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Thornton.
Good evening, Madam Chair. First up, I want to start with some teaching and learning, because that is, of course, what we do. So I want to call up Mr. DeMona to give us an update on the 3 or 4 items that are happening right now with regards to academics. Mr. DeMona.
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Thornton, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. So I'll be really quick. There are a few things that are happening that I want to update everyone on. First and foremost, professional development obviously was interrupted with the pandemic for over a year and a half. We've begun our typical approach to professional development. However, we are struggling with subs and getting our classrooms filled, but we're doing the best we can, and we're scaling back where we can. One of the major problems with this is, as you know, we have a lot of curricular ride mandates that we have to meet. Grades 9 through 12, Melissa Kuzinitz, our new coordinator at the high school, has started that work with instruction partners for ELA and math. Our middle school ELA and math curriculum is currently being looked at. And all of these processes are going to take us at least 3 years. It's going to be about a 3-year focus for our office, and it's going to be a big chunk of our time. And then we also have to finish off grades 3, 4, and 5 ELA. Math is the only subject area that we don't have to touch at the elementary level, but from grade 6 on, we have to change our ELA and math curriculum at this moment. ESSA 3, on October 26th, the Achievement Subcommittee will be meeting with Madam Chair heading that, and we'll be talking about our ESSA 3 plan of action. I met with Dr. Thornton this week. Our team met with him, and we discussed how that $5 million was going to be preliminarily spent, so to speak, and we wanted to share that information with you. It's really important that we make some decisions, because once that grant is released, we want to be able to get that started. That'll take us a while. And lastly, data, right? So we've started our school data meetings, trying to fill gaps. All of the schools are underway with our data meetings. My office is supporting those. Keep in mind that RICAS scores have not been released. Mcas have. I started looking at the Mcas data this week, started doing an analysis there, had a conversation with Dr. Thornton about that, and we're just waiting for the RICAS scores, and when they do come out, we'll be going on a little mini sabbatical to do that analysis. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. DeMona? All right.
Good, excellent.
Oh, Mr. Collins.
Sure.
In your,
I do have a question for the superintendent when we can ask, okay? Dr. Thornton, I see that Mrs. Oliver has resigned. Does Mr. Masterson have any help down at that building?
yeah, actually, we're going to have some help there in transition, so he will not be alone at that building. He'll have 2 individuals down there.
Thank you.
Mr. Collins.
A question for Mr. DeMona. So your evaluation of the MCAS, what are you seeing in your estimation?
So, great question. I went to the summative data for the state in ELA and math. I concentrated on ELA and math, and it looked like in ELA there was only about a 3 to 4% dive. Actually, excuse me, it was a 6% drop in ELA. So 6% of the students overall, when all 400,000 students tested, when it ended, the bell-shaped curve, there was a -6 in the proficiency in exceeding proficiency and a +6 on the nearing proficiency and not met, right? In math, it was greater. I think it was about 12%. It was a 12% drop in math in proficiency and exceeding, and adversely, there was a 12% increase in the amount of students who fell deficient of grade level standard. So that's the most superficial analysis I can give you overall for the state. What I'm going to do next is I'll start to look at towns like Seekonk, towns that have historically performed at or near us or above us, and start to look at their dips and start to make some more finite predictions.
So, but I must have been about 6 to 10 months ago, you had met, we would discuss, I think it was during an achievement meeting,
Yes.
your expectations.
Yep.
So, and if I'd have to go way back in my notes at this point, but I think you had anticipated somewhere between a 5 and 10% drop, correct? For Cumberland.
That's correct.
So this is pretty consistent with what you kind of prognosticated at that time.
I think so. When it all shook out, again, so many districts in Massachusetts, right? When it all shook out, that was the percent differential. I think when we looked at our predictions in our school, you have a few schools that did worse than others, and we try to balance it out. And I think at the end, we're probably looking at that probably closer to 7 to 10% drop in ELA and math. Probably more in math than ELA.
Appreciate
That's
it.
the trend.
I appreciate your honesty. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Demanna.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, my next item, just a quick info on upcoming flu clinics. We have a flu clinic Monday, October 25th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the high school cafeteria. Also, a flu clinic Wednesday, November 17th, 4 to 7 p.m., high school cafeteria. Additionally, and in Hope, we have a clinic on 10/20, and that's through the state vaccinateri.org, and that would be, Ms. Feather, if I'm right, correct me, that would be both the flu and the Pfizer? Yep. So you have that clinic also coming up, so that's good news. Pivoting to the chart, right, and how are we trending? I actually am encouraged by the numbers I'm seeing right now. Just to give you a sense, when I first talked about this with you on 9/24, we had 43 positive students. Now our total is 70, so really we're down to 27. So in terms of a trend line, 43, 27, that's encouraging. Number of positive staff, we had 6 on 9/24. We have one more at 7, so we went down. In terms of quarantine, as you know, that can be tricky with bus quarantining, but back on 9/24, we had 337. Now, even with bus quarantining, down to 263, so that is coming down. That's a good thing. In the last category, number of adults, only one more adult has been quarantined. We had 2 initially. So it is trending in the right direction. Let's see how it goes in another few weeks, but hopefully when we do have the vaccinations available for the younger students, right? We're hearing about that in hopefully late November. That could be a turning point, I think, for everyone, so that's encouraging. Next up, my last, oh, yes.
Dr. Thornton, to that point, the latest executive order will be retiring again October 17th or 18th, which is coming up within a few days. Have you heard anything to date or from Ryder or from Rido concerning that and whether it's going to be extended for another month?
Yeah, we have not. We actually have a weekly pod meeting, as they call them, and that was not discussed. Our next pod meeting, I'll have one tomorrow or not. Katie, is there a pod meeting tomorrow? 2 o'clock? 10 o'clock tomorrow, maybe we'll hear, but nothing as of yet. My last item, just some construction news for you to keep you up to date on some things that are happening with construction. First up, the new wing at Cumberland Hill, the foundation is going in, so if you want to get a tour to come see that, I can show you the foundation is in fact going in. The swing space, Cumberland Hill offices, we had a meeting today at 1:30. We think the week of the 25th now is probably the move-in, probably more like that midweek. They have to do a final, put in the carpeting and also close the ceilings up and get a final inspection from the town. So we think worst case, end of that week of 10/25, they're in. Same thing goes for the PD space, Mr. Demanna's space with his staff. Same thing, they'll be in a couple of weeks, so that's really encouraging. The playground, as you may have seen, the apparatus are arriving, and it's going in. They're going to pour the surface for the rubber on 10/25 and 10/26. So that's good. We'll have the kids playing on that in a couple of weeks. That'll help a lot as far as the recess for Cumberland Hill. So that's encouraging. Last piece, fencing has been something we're trying to get. As you know, with some commodities, it's hard to get these things, right? The fencing, we're told, is now on land and coming, and we should have it in our possession on, we believe, Monday. So we'll probably do a 2-day install. That's the fencing running down the whole line of the parking lot to the playground. So that should be going in very soon. So that's encouraging. Like with anything with construction, we have, things that go well and things that we have hiccups with. And certainly with the supply chain situation, we are having some delays with some technology pieces, things like that. But overall, it's encouraging. We met today at 10:30 and 1:30, 2 meetings on construction. So we are moving forward. All the vendors are on hand, so it is moving. Happy to answer any questions on that if you have any questions.
Any questions? No? Oh, Mr. DeMonica?
Dr. Thornton, the fencing you talk about going along the back of the parking lot for the kids, are we going to be able to clear that, like if for some inclement winter, like snow,
Yeah,
slush?
we'll have to change our plowing pattern. Talking to Will to Jesus, we can't obviously plow snow into the fence.
Right.
We'll have to have the vendor change how they do the plowing. It'll have to go out to the right or out to the left, not straight ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Dr. Thornton. Next on the agenda, reports of standing committees. The first one, Fiscal Management Subcommittee update. Mr. Collins.
Good evening. The fiscal subcommittee met this evening. All members were in attendance. We will be presenting later a payment of bills in the amount of $1,688,077.56. So Mr. Prignano, our business office manager, presented his monthly report. Couple highlights. There is going to be a change, according to Mr. Prignano, on how bills are paid with town versus school. That's going to be streamlined, and there's going to be more details moving forward. We broke down some numbers, obviously, and then the only other thing would be the question of state aid. The town is challenging an assessor mistake a few years ago, and Mr. Prignano informed us that the mayor will be working with state legislators from the Cumberland delegation to have this resolved, hopefully, in a manner that's positive to the district. In addition to that, we have 2 resolutions being presented. Well, a budget adjustment later for a personnel issue, and then we'll have a resolution coming up dealing with the removal of dirt. So that will be it, and that's it for the fiscal subcommittee. So,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you for that update. Next is the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee update. I think, Ms. Smith, you're playing the role of Mr. Fiorello tonight?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The Policy and Procedures Subcommittee did meet this past Tuesday. We had discussed several policies, the district wellness policy and the inclusion policy. In both of those, I will briefly mention in the public hearing. And that was about it. We'll be meeting again in a few weeks. This will start our busy time where we'll be meeting often to go through policies and update it accordingly throughout the year.
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith. The next item is Achievement and Communications Subcommittee update. We did not meet this week, but as Mr. Demana said, we will be meeting on October 26th and reviewing the ESSER funding and choices to make around how we can help with academic achievement. The next item, is the District Health and Wellness Subcommittee update. Mrs. Rogalski is not here tonight, so we won't be able to get an update on that. The next item on the agenda is public hearing of these policies. Ms. Smith?
Thank you. Yes, the first one, the reading of the amended policy, which is I-1, the district wellness policy. There were minor changes made to that in committee the other day. However, the changes have not been implemented yet within the contract or within the policy. So we are going to be tabling the first reading until our next meeting. We also have a second reading on our G21 on non-contracted at-will employees. So this is the second reading today. And lastly, the A6 inclusion policy. We were to have a first reading. There were, again, minor updates that were being done to it. Those are not ready to be presented tonight, so we will be doing the first reading at the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith. And we do have public comments related to any of these policies. If anyone would like to speak related to these policies, you can come up and state your name and your address. And we, just for the record, we have a 3-minute time limit.
Sam, is he required to wear a mask?
Oh, yes, and please, you'll have to put your mask on. Thank you.
It's right here.
like, on your face, though.
I'm not going to put it on my face. It's
Well,
just
that
not
is
gonna
the
happen.
mandate that we need to have the mask on. in
Yeah,
the
and that's
building.
another thing. So here's the thing.
Well, I'm sorry, sir.
You have to understand, you don't
I-
wear a mask when you go to Walmart.
I'm
when you
sorry,
go to
that
Walgreens,
is the
when you
state,
go to any
that
other
is the
place.
state executive order, and that is what we
I sat there
need
the whole
to do.
time, you didn't say a word.
I actually didn't even realize it
You
until,
didn't see my beautiful face?
excuse me?
You didn't see my beautiful
Why am I
face
talking
sitting
to
there? Yeah, of course you did. It doesn't make sense.
So-
You're not making sense, and this is the problem. Ireland.
Excuse me, sir.
Ireland, the
We're,
UK,
this is
Sweden.
not, this is not up for debate.
Oh,
Please.
what does this do?
Put your mask
What is it
on.
going to do now? It's
Okay.
doing nothing. You're an illusion. You're living an illusion. It doesn't make any sense. I'm actually here to comment on the policies for the children and the masks and how you're wrong.
They have to be
You've been
related to
wrong for a
these.
long
spec-
time. That's not for discussion. This is a public comment. You obviously, you don't have to, no, I can talk as much as I want to talk. Don't try to
No,
tell me not
we
to talk.
can close the
Who the hell are
public
you?
comment.
Who are you?
I would,